Morning, y'all. Wiggle here. Got some decent slow rain last night, and it's still raining today. So I thought I would update you on some of my garden projects. Here's my potato patch. Now, what I'm doing this morning is I'm walking around looking at what water's doing. So, I can tell you one thing from looking here. See how you got a puddle there and a puddle there? Nothing here, and it's all puddles down that way, and it's all puddles down this way. So right here is my crest of my ridge. I stand here and look down. Everything's downhill, at least. I mean, I think looking across here is basically the ridge. Kind of where to the right of the hydrant there, kind of going towards the corner of the property there. So, what I have, well, let me show you the other. So, this is a nice, all this from where the tank is, that was the highest point basically. That tree's a little bit higher than that tank, that big oak. But that basically was a little knob here, the little top, little round part, highest point. That's why I put my water tank there. So I can tell where I'm standing from here, basically to the oak tree, is that's my crest here. So all this water, this little puddle, is going to go that way. So I've determined that this potato patch is in a really great place because I put it in early. It's mid-March. I've already got everything under like 10-12 inches of, I built my sides with unfinished compost and I put compost in between, so you can't see the, but they're in there. There's a considerable amount of unfinished compost, and then basically scraped up compost just off the ground and put in here. So it has weed seeds in it and all that, of course. Has gravel in it, has some subsoil, that grayish clay, which is red clay, but it's been improved. It's got a little more brown to it, so it's more gray looking. So there is some fertility. It's mostly improved clay. You don't see a lot of red. But anyway, this is my potato patch. And I noticed it's in a good spot because potatoes really do not like cold and wet. They'll rot on you. I don't think these are going to rot. Yes, we're getting a lot of water. They're probably not sitting in a lot of water. Probably oozing out because of where we are up on top of the ridge. If this was down in the low part, my potatoes would be dead. I think up here they're going to make it. And the ridge is dry up here and gravelly underneath it, so it's kind of going to wick at least some of that water out of there until it gets saturated. Then it'll be sitting in a marsh. But I don't think we're going to get saturated sitting up on this ridge. So what I've noticed is, see how I've got all this fertility kind of leaching out, and I got this bit of lushness here. When I go ahead and put my fence in around this so I can graze out here, I'm going to bring it out round, kind of bring it out around this, and then I'm going to put in a little bed to help catch some of this water and put like lettuce or, you know, lush, shallow rooted things that like water, but then can tolerate a little bit of being dry, but then get wet again. It's pretty good considering we're up on a ridge. Now I'm dealing with moisture issues. That's awesome. That's usually not the case. Usually it's just going to be dry on the ridge in a day or two. But I think this bed is going to hold enough moisture. I can do some moisture gardening up here. Another thing I was considering this morning, I think I'm going to overseed this whole thing with daikon radish. Just get it out there, because it's not something that I will necessarily need to harvest, but I'm getting something growing, and while I'm waiting for the potatoes, it's like I got all this wasted space. I'm going to do that this morning. Now this is, we just finished this yesterday, right at dark, due to the rain coming, and we just really pushed it. Now, everything, that ridge kind of continues over by that chicken coop. So everything on that side is coming this way. So you can see that we've got an accumulation of water here. This is a T-post cattle panel fence with rabbit wire in the bottom. That's the most affordable way to do a quick temporary fence for me to keep my birds out. Yeah, they can jump up and squeeze through these upper sections, but they generally will just jump up on the... Oh, Tyler stinks. Okay. They'll generally just jump on the top and jump over. So if I have one that keeps jumping over, I'll clip its wings. So this is all gonna... When we were doing the original plan was to bring my fence back this way. Then I realized it was actually less fence to just go ahead and tie into that other fence. So now I've made this whole section of garden. I can still get my big equipment in to finish this end. This used to be a driveway, but it's just too wet all the time. You see those tire tracks, so it's not reliable for a driveway. Just because I had fed all my cows over the fence with the hay, and it had a big pile of hay and manure, and I had pushed it down the hill. And anyway, I'm changing the way that we travel across the land. My new way is up there at the gate, up there, and there's a gravel road coming that way. So my access to this side of the property will no longer be this, because this is obviously going to be a permanent garden now. So this again was the fertility that was in place. We scraped it into rows, moved it around, and we put way unfinished. It's like manure and straw mix. It's very, very unfinished for the walks. That will help reduce the need to weed. We got our seeds in last night so they could get rained in. So I'll show you, we're going downhill. Back up. So here's our little pond of water up there that I had showed you. You see where the water's coming down into this area, spilling over out of this bed, which is what I want, and it's coming down this way and leaving where I'm standing. So it's leaving the garden, and you can't really tell this when unless you get a transit level out here and do all that. I just guessed at that, and I hit it dead on. The reason I know I got it right, see that solid pond of water across the face of it? It's even and still. That is a perfectly level mark. So I got it, my bed's right where I want them, because you want to be cross contour. You want to be 90 degrees of contour on your bed, 90 degrees opposed to downhill. You want to be exactly across grade. And I hit that. And now you see why. Now I'm hitting water and sinking it in. I want to do that. I just don't want the water lasting over 3 or 4 days. 2 or 3 is better. But if it lasts more than 4 days, you need to do something else. You got to get rid of some water or change your elevation, because it's going to waterlog your crops, depending on what normal crops. Anyway, that water is coming out of that first ditch, first swale. It's coming right down here, kind of meandering in different areas. Some of it's going that way, some of it's coming back to me. You can tell by looking where the little rivers are. So like here's the high spot. Some water is breaking to the right, some water is breaking back to the left. So what I'm going to want to do is just move the soil I already have, and I want to extend this terrace, this hill, and bring it this way. That'll help me keep more water in the garden, but then I want to have it spill over, and I will try to work it where it will go back into this bed, go down, come back in this bed, back in that bed, and then finally it'll come out here. I've been having issues over there. I've been working on the grading next to that building. So you can see I got it mostly right. But what we want is the water coming here all the way down, and finally we'll release it to go on down the hill. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to bring this exit water, entrance water's over there, exit water's over here. We'll bring the exit water, and I'm going to try to build this up right along this fence and put a few trees in. Over there where that mound of dirt is, that will be where my road comes in. So I'm going to get a line of trees here. So this is kind of separate from the road and blocked off. So I'll bring that exit water over here and flood yet another terrace. And I'm kind of pushing, as you can see, that water wants to go straight down there. I'm going to push it up the hill and then bring it back and not let it run across the road. Obviously it's not going to go that far, but I'm going to see where the more green is than the brown. That water, we'll try to get it up about where that green is, and then it'll meander back down to the left. We want to push that water up, back up the hill as far as we can without pumps or anything like that. Keep your water uphill as long as you can. Keep it on your land. Don't create swamps. And this will be the entrance from this section where I'm going to have tiny homes. I'm not going to use trailers after all. I think I'll do tiny homes on skids that are still temporary shelter, but you can just drag them around. Anyway, I will put some pavers in here, maybe gravel. This is the entrance. You walk by the garden to get to the off-grid kitchen and bathroom over there. I'm going to show you some of my water issues here. This is going to be a path, so we don't want it to be a swamp. We want the water to be moving. Looks like we probably had some water washing out here. It's about where I figured it would. So we need to try to not have the water loss here. We need to try to push it down the bend out the exit I showed you. I don't want it washing across here. So we're going to have to work on that. This is a little temporary gate with the wire hinges. This is just like a divider I had inside of a chicken house. So I just threw it up temporarily until I get a real gate. But it works. Kind of cool. Just some wire. It's not perfect, but just keeping the chickens out. So we got to fix right here so chickens can't get under. Got to fix there. I think that I see they put some rocks down. That was smart. Maybe we'll gather up all our rocks and just put them underneath this part. I wanted to walk up here and see. See, this is a secondary kind of, and that's fine. It's just when I'm doing back and forth, I'll have to work these beds, and you basically want the river just running back and forth, slowly meandering as wide and as slow as possible. I was wondering if I had a washout right here. And we may have, but it looks like it's holding. We're so high on the ridge. This was lower down. This water didn't have a lot of force because we're high up on the ridge, and it's if you were lower, you'd have a lot more force of the water, and the force of the water is going to erode. It doesn't look like it's eroded. It looked like we had a little bit run across. I was thinking more of a blowout. I'm not sure where this. If we get a heavy downpour, I have to come and see what my water's doing. So you can see this is a great place for a garden. So what I'm going to do is see where that big pink ribbon is. I'm going to turn the fence and go that way, and then all this in between here. I'm basically going to continue with this bed idea. I mean, this contour, and I'll bring them on contour, and then I'll kind of turn them a little bit and try to. This is my contour, and it kind of shifts around. If you can see what that would be on contour, level with that pond up there. So I'll have to kind of shift them with my geography to keep the water held back. And I'm going to have water coming in from over there by the potato patch, and I'm going to have water coming in right here where this old road was. So I got the water coming in from two directions. And then basically that's my ridge. Down here is my real water problem. I wanted to show you that. This is all brand new, but it looks pretty good. We got, as this is the backside, this is kind of north and east here. We're going to have nothing from the south and west later. This is the shady spot. So I planted all greens in here. Lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, cilantro, lettuce. Lettuce, spinach. I don't know what I said. That way, later in the year, we get a little bit of season extension just because this is the shady part. It's just going to get the morning sun, and then it's going to get a lot of shade, which is, we'll see how that works. And hopefully, oh, look at this. Nice ridgeline here. Half inch or how long that's messing out of my set. All right, here's up here in front of the greenhouse is kind of top of the ridge. That's why I put the greenhouse here. one of the reasons. And my water starts kind of picking up right here. Now you can see, dun, 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 yeah, there's a problem right there. I'm gonna work on that this morning. Water ran through that door. That water is supposed to go this way. It went that way. See, I'm gathering. We need to build this up with dirt. Don't want water running back under your building like that. That's nothing but trouble. Termite heaven. So here's where we did fill this in a little bit yesterday. Obviously I need a gutter, but I'm going to use a gutter system to catch water to flush the toilet. I'm going to put a tank in there and I'm going to catch all this water and have a toilet off-grid toilet that doesn't need a pump or anything. Anyway, that's a whole nother project, but this water running off this roof's causing quite a problem. So I'm going to have to get that gutter on and deal with that issue soon enough. I need to get that water, that little pond, or little puddle, I need to get it running down here. It's not supposed to be running that way. I'm going to fix that right away. And then this is where it goes and feeds. This is the last ditch effort, so to speak. But I'm going to try to get this running down the last swale, and then there's going to be that swale on the other side of that fence for the trees. I'm going to try to get all this water not cutting to the left here like it wants to. I'm going to try to hold it uphill and take it down that way and then spill it out. And that will create some problems. This is super mushy because I just put this hill in. This is all fresh dirt here, but it'll be fine. Problem for this maple lover, it's now kind of in the footprint of this building, and I've shunted all the water in different directions, so this maple's going to die. I mean, it's got, and I've also had to cut roots to put in, but these big maples always die anyway. So when you change the grade, you're going to kill trees. Like we lost the cherry in the middle is dead. I've changed the grade. They're not getting the water they used to. Because there should be a little tiny shed here in the water. But I've kind of pushed the water either way because you don't want to go under your building. So that's all going to change. Just to be aware, you can kill your trees if you really change the water profile on the land. But I was ready to lose that tree anyway because it's going to die no matter what I do. It's hollow. These old maples. We're losing a lot of maples. I think they're going extinct on us, but oh well. Can't change that. And tangent, I apologize. So I'm going to walk over and show you my other bed in action. Just want you to kind of get a feel of when I come out here and I look at the water in the rain, it tells me what I need to do. Because I don't want to hold too much, but I want to hold exactly as much as I can and then release it. I don't want to share my water downstream. I want to hold it up here and use it as many times as I can in as many ways as I can. An example of that would be catching that water off that roof, filtering it, running it through a toilet only. You don't have to drink with it. It's a big enough tank where it never goes empty. You don't have to pump water in it. You can just use rainwater to flush. So you're holding it up, you're using it to go to the bathroom, and then you're flushing it either into your septic or some of that water maybe if you use it to just take a shower or something. If it's clean enough to use for a shower, then you're using it to wash, and then you put it in your gray water and putting it in your garden. Hold your water uphill and use it as many times as you can without pumps and all that. Well, I'll just show you this nightmare mess. We're going to change the way we handle the chickens. This is just a barren wasteland because we let the chickens run everywhere. But here's the backbone of a food forest. Not done yet. It hasn't been finally graded. I kind of just put the piles in. But here's the idea. Again, water coming in. Here's my inlet under that little bridge. And then it's going to go down and around. It is a mess. And it's going to go down and around. And it blew out here and went down to the left, which you don't want. I would want to curve back to the right, come back into this bed, and then go in down all of that. Then we'll release it down that way. So it's doing okay. It needs a little tweaking, and those mounds need some work, and need to bring in some fertility and so forth. But that's the basic backbone. We're going to work on this. We're going to put some trees in here. This is top of the ridge, so I don't want a garden here. We're going to do trees and blackberry, you know, rubus, blackberry, raspberry and such. And then this will be a fenced in area here across this, because my road's going to come in the back here for handling cattle and so forth. That's another story. But let me show you my main thing over here.